Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Ines.
Hello, Erin.
We're back again for another discussion, another side specifics. Yes, I wanted to talk more about episodes. Hopefully, we're going to do this a little bit more. I wanted to
Yeah, the recording
get one more in before the summer because I'm going to have a crazy busy summer. Yes, we are going to talk about dealing with intrusive thoughts.
thoughts. I'm
Yay!
wearing the shirt for the occasion,
And
the ring
she's
shirt.
beautiful. She's beautiful. You know, that shirt is based on gothic romances. And it's
Yeah, it's very 80s horror movie
well,
posters.
yeah, it actually goes further back than that. My mom had all these gothic romance comic books, and all of the covers looked like that. They were dark with a woman running away in like a big billowy dress from like a dark castle, and like a man
Yeah,
like off of the
I love that
looking
aesthetic.
very sinister. That's what
Yeah.
that's based on. I love it. I wish I got one. I'm wearing my Remus riding a dolphin
It's subtle, but I love
keychain.
it.
I don't actually use them as keychains because I don't want them to wear out, so I wear them as necklaces. And I got my little
That's
ring.
fair. That's fair. That's fair.
So I
Yeah,
just wear it on special occasions, like today, because we're going to talk about
yeah.
Remus's episode. And I just want to say before we start that this episode, so it came out 2019. It was the second episode I think I ever saw live. It's the very first
But
episode
do
that
you,
I
do you
watched.
record your reaction?
No, I didn't because this is the first episode that actually made me want to join the fandom. Learning new things about ourselves was the first episode that got me thinking, oh, this guy, this Thomas Sanders guy, he's pretty cool. And then I started watching his stuff, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again, and then in June this episode came out, and I was like, this is really making me think. I want to actually make like I wanted to either like write an essay or make a video or something. Like I wanted to participate in some way because there was so much in it that I connected to, especially about like the Catholic guilt thing. The whole like connection with like being Catholic and wanting to separate your forbidden thoughts. And I was very much like, oh yes, the what are those sins called? Veneral sins. Veneral sins. This episode, all the Catholic stuff, talking about how I grew up, like it was very much like you want to separate those thoughts and you feel guilty for having those thoughts because of how you are supposed to live in your faith. Veneral sins are like there's the seven deadly sins or the seven sins. Veneral sins are stuff that like the Catholic Church tells you shouldn't do, like have lustful thoughts or have sex before marriage and stuff like
Yeah.
that, or like like stuff like that. You're not supposed to do stuff like that. Remus encompasses a lot of that. Like he's very much that those carnal forbidden desires or sins that as a Catholic you don't touch. I mean, it's mostly to do with the self. It's mostly to do with you being pious and you being like basically like living like a saintly person. But it's up to you to do it. It's not like the big things like stealing, like the laws dictate. It's the stuff that keeps you pure.
I mean, yeah, we have seen the sides where a bit saying, oh shit, and blip. But this one is like the first time Thomas allowed himself to be more experimental with
Yes.
the things that he's allowed to give himself. And that like gave him more liberty than to
Mm-hmm.
be more open about these kind of things. And I think
Yeah,
that's
and it made him more
pretty interesting.
yeah, it made him more vulnerable too. Like he really threw himself out there, and not just him. Like, I know it was also Joan and the other people writing
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Putting that all into one character and like giving their own experiences within Remus's character. But yeah, like it was really tied in with the Catholic thing, because his intrusive thoughts, as he's seen in the show, deal with that stuff you shouldn't do as a Catholic kind of thing. Not all intrusive thoughts are like that. Not all intrusive thoughts are dictated by being Catholic. Like, lots of intrusive thoughts are just like, I'm going to jump out of a moving car, I'm going to step off the edge of this cliff kind of thing. And you have those, and you can't stop those thoughts. Those don't really have anything to do with being Catholic, but it's the carnal stuff that is like what he experiences as intrusive thoughts. So I just roundabout way of saying I really connected with that. Now, as we did with why is dating scary, let's start talking about Janice.
Hey, my favorite topic conversation.
Favorite topic of conversation, because Janice is here. Janice is very much here, present in this episode. And it's not a physical thing. He's not physically there.
Yeah, like Logan said, he's not there, but he's there.
He's there. He's there. But he's the one. So here's theory territory, major theory territory, but I think it's kind of like you're supposed to take this away from the show, from this episode. This goes back to Can Lying Be Good, but I almost feel like kind of this actual start of the whole arc of the season 2 starts with Can Lying Be Good, because of Janice being there. And this whole arc of, is Thomas a good person? So at the end, yeah. So at the end of Can Lying Be Good, Janice says, what you don't know can't hurt you. And Logan steps in and he retorts and he's like, that's not true. What's true is that knowledge will help you out of any situation.
Yeah, and that's what he always does. He always, every time something bad happens.
Yes, so that is the tip-off. So here's the thing. This whole thing was actually orchestrated by Janice to take down Logan. But here's the thing. It didn't work. Because he applied knowledge, and you can get out of any situation with knowledge. Knowledge is a multifaceted tool. If you feel in doubt, or if you feel,
seek knowledge, and that is our great defense and our greatest weapon.
Our greatest weapon and our greatest defense. Seek knowledge.
Yeah,
that's what it is, right? Okay, so he said the word knowledge. Now, skipping ahead to dealing with intrusive thoughts, we get to the song. And part of the song is Adam and Eve bought knowledge for the small price of a little sin. And I was like, wait, that's the word knowledge. Where have I heard that word before? Like I was like, oh my God. And then it goes to that that screenshot of, looks like a silhouette of Remus and Janice. He said, serpent offered me something from the tree of knowledge, right? A serpent.
Yes.
And then he goes, you're wanting to be more honest and dealing directly with your issues. No longer will you receive deceit
about the ugliness within you.
About the ugliness within you. And yeah, and I was like, oh my God, this is because of the knowledge comment from Logan. You're wanting to be more honest and dealing. Here's the ugly side of you. Here's that side of you that you have been avoiding for so long. That side that you keep hidden and under lock and key. And, you know, the other sides know about him, but they'll never talk about him unless you bring him up. So if you don't know about him, then you can't bring him up until he's so, Thomas is so tired and beaten down that he starts to have intrusive thoughts. And what is he like? The intrusive thoughts are like him murdering his brother or something. Like it's a very vague scene of him, like he's got blood on his hands and he's like dragging a body around. So
But is this what Remus thinks of? Oh, is this what Remus thinks of Roman, or Roman thinks of Remus? It would be like,
well, yeah, and it's directly connected to the whole brothers thing, Roman and Remus, the twins thing, and the whole referring to Cain and Abel because Cain killed Abel. Actually, and that's funny, there's a little detail where he goes, Roman and I are Cain and Abel, and he goes Cain and he points to himself, and Abel and he points down. And I was like, yep, that's who you would be in this situation.
yeah, the only things I associate those names with the Bible is Remus and Roman, and Cain and Bubble in the Digital Circus. I know that's the different thing, but yeah,
Cain. Oh yeah, in the Digital Circus, yeah. They're because they were the first brothers of that. They were born of Adam and Eve. So they were the two born of Adam and Eve. Cain, I think, was jealous of Abel because Abel was very pious and very good and did what the Lord wanted. And Cain was very jealous. He was like, it was kind of an allegory for, because when Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden and they ate from the tree of knowledge, they they ate the apple or whatever fruit it was. They ate, and it meant that that all humans from then on would sin because they went against God. It was a sin of pride, actually, the sin of pride. And the serpent encouraged them to do this. Well, he encouraged Eve to do it technically. That's how all the stories go. But then Eve gave the fruit to Adam. They both ate it because he didn't left out or whatever.
Yeah, I also remember the story.
They were and then they were banished. Yes, they were banished from the Garden of Eden for sinning, for going against God. So having this inherent sin within them, afterwards they went out and they set up a home and they had a farm and they had two children, which were Cain and Abel. I don't think Cain and Abel were twins per se. I think they were just, one was
they're just brothers.
They were just brothers. I think Cain was the older one, actually. And growing up, Cain was always jealous of Abel because it seemed like God loved Abel more. And their parents acted like Abel was, the good one, basically. And Cain was jealous all the time. And
I can see the resemblance.
Yeah, and he was technically the first. He committed the second sin, which was the killing. Like, thou shalt not kill. Yeah, he's the first murderer, basically. Cain is the bad one. So Janice, he's taking all of that, and like I said, with Remus, it's all about the carnal desire, the carnal sin, the venial sins, and yeah, he basically shoved him at Thomas and was like, "Yep, here's what
fun.
Here's what you actually are. Here's another side of you that's completely bad." Bad news bears, because he is going to show you what all of the stuff that you think that you shouldn't think. Yeah, I don't think that's fair. Thinking those thoughts doesn't inherently make you a bad person, even though he does say 5 of the 7 deadly sins are committed in your head. It doesn't technically make you a bad person to think those thoughts. But again, this is the venial sin parts, right? You shouldn't be thinking like that. So are you a bad person for even thinking that? Because thought is a precursor to action. But then again, if you don't act on it, are you bad? This is the moral philosophy we're going into. let's talk about Remus because he's the star of the show.
Yeah, he's the star of the episode here.
Here's the star of the episode. So, what are your thoughts on Remus this episode?
Yeah, at first, I sent that tweet of where's a character you didn't like, but now you love. And I said, yeah. I didn't not like him. Yes, I was like, I didn't know what to think about him because it was like weird to see Thomas in this kind of role.
He is the most unlike himself in that getup.
Yeah, and it was like, and he's now wearing a mustache. It's weird seeing Thomas wearing a mustache. Yeah, it's Remus. He has a mustache.
I actually wrote this down. I would give anything to watch the opening scene with Remus coming out from behind the TV again for the first time. Like that was like, this is like a horror movie. I would give anything to see that opening scene again for the first time because it is legitimately scary. Like he takes out Roman in the back of the head with his freaking morning star, and then he smiles like a maniac.
Oh, I remember there was like a little trailer he made, and it was like,
was there?
Yes, it was like a suspenseful, creepy trailer.
Ooh, I don't remember that. I'll have to go look for that. Actually, you know what it reminded me of when he came out from behind the TV? There's a scene in this show called Twin Peaks. It's an older show. It was from the early 90s and it was made by David Lynch. And David Lynch made really, really eerie, creepy movies and TV shows that like felt like you were stuck inside a dream because a lot of times they were very quiet. And that scene of Remus crawling out from behind the TV, there's a scene in Twin Peaks which is really, really creepy. And it's about this girl who is murdered. And you find out later on that she's actually murdered by this kind of ghostly entity. Like, he's not really a ghost, but he's kind of like a demon or something. He's like, you can't see him, but he can possess people. And he frequently possesses this girl's dad. And you find out later his name is Bob. And there's a scene of the mother of this girl having this image of Bob, and he's got this like crazy maniac like smile on his face, and he's crawling out from behind the TV and like through the living room and over the couch toward her, and she's just screaming her head off.
Well, maybe that was an inspiration.
It might have been because like that's what it reminded me of, and I was like, damn, like it definitely felt like an inspiration from that because that show was amazing, but like it had its moments where it was just creepy as hell. So my favorite character in this episode actually is not Remus and it's not Logan. It's actually character Thomas.
Yeah.
I want to say that for some reason, character Thomas in this episode has some of the funniest lines. He's like, he gets so upset. He's like, Logan says something like,
"We can."
He's like,
he's so hopeful. He's so hopeful for, okay, please get rid of this guy.
I know. He's like, help me. And then he goes, I can't speak because of the
I can think of the tires because I'm too tired thinking of the tires.
And and then he says something like, is this the funniest episode I've ever made, or is it just me? He's so
and yeah, also the bloopers of that of character Thomas, like, whoa, you look like
the bloopers are even better.
No, okay, let's go other 5 figments of my imagination.
Let's go other figments of my imagination. Come on. Oh, and when he like imitates the little prince. Oh, I got a
little prince all in my head. I'm all right.
Yes, his name is Roman. Oh, look, the butterflies in the sky.
I wonder if the real Thomas just woke up because he looks exhausted in for real.
I know, I know. I think
Method
it's a
acting.
makeup.
Method acting.
Okay, so the funniest line from character Thomas to me is when he says something along the lines of, "The Duke and the Prince literally wear the black and the white." If
Like thinking,
your thinking isn't so black and doesn't have to be so black and white, and he's like, "But the Duke and the Prince literally wear the black and the white." He's so upset. And then the part where he like is given a doll and a knife and he goes
yeah, you maybe see that one of the things I make Remus said in one of the lingos for the game. It was a large sharp knife.
a large sharp knife. I didn't make him throw the baby. I just gave him a baby and a large sharp knife. He's such an asshole.
Wait. I remember in SVS when Janice was like asking the question to Logan, and he said, "Are you the stinky poo poo side, right?"
Yeah.
And he said, "No, I'm Logan, stinky poo poo side."
You're the stinky poo poo side. And he takes it literally because of course he does. No, yeah, that might be like a little bit of foreshadowing too. It could be.
And also the in How Do We Get Outside in the Morning, when Roman is talking about the genealogical tree, and he's like your family and your ancestors, and there's like
oh
Roman, and then like another like line that is shown that is like a brother thing,
like yeah,
like family,
like a family branch. Or I've seen people speculate about that too. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that.
but who knows. Also Thomas, you tell this thing to Thomas, and like, oh, I didn't even know. It's just a coincidence, a happy coincidence.
He probably didn't know because I know, like, when you watch that documentary that they made about why do we get out of bed in the morning, you see that who is doing most of the editing, the art
Joan.
editing, is Joan, and I think Talon a little bit. So maybe he didn't even see that and then it goes by really quick. So I don't know. I think the artist's name was Erin. I think it was a rainy day sketch. Um, they might have put it in on a recommendation, or they might have put it in like this just happens to be like an ancestor or whatever, like an ancestor with brothers who happens to be a prince.
Now, yeah, and now I want to point out all the times that Remus could also be mentioned because I have a few more. The other one is 12th Day of Christmas when Roman is and not thinking of your nickel and patty.
Oh, the bubblegum shrimp thing.
Oh well, yeah, that.
Oh no, you're naked out. He goes, yeah, I don't know where that came from.
And yours of your nickel and patty, and then
yeah,
yes. And then you can see
in
Forbidden Fruit, the nickel and patty.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I think that one was actually a legitimate reference because they put it in.
Yeah.
And like just this little like tiny sign, and you have to stop it or like really look to see what it is. And he goes, yeah, I don't know where that came from. Yeah, I don't think he's ever referenced that. Like again, the naked. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I thought you were gonna say the Bubba Gump shrimp thing because the Bubba.
Oh yeah, that too.
The Bubba Gump shrimp thing, even though he says it in the anniversary episode, "Have I Grown?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I whispered that to him in his sleep" or something like that.
And now I'm thinking of that, and also at the end card of the plushies commercial, when you can see Roman in his sleep, and you can see Remus' hand taking one of the stars.
Yeah.
And or maybe there's a thing that I have the headcanon that they sleep not together, but they have the same room and they share room.
Okay, so I have a theory about that too, because if you watch, whenever they do whenever he does a Roman and Remus incorrect quote, he always has them doing it upstairs near his bathroom, and it makes it look like they share a bathroom. Okay, they all share the bathroom. That's fine. But whenever it's Roman and Remus, they're always never in the spots. They're always upstairs somewhere, I think, in the apartment. And it makes it look like they share a room. Okay, now I want to talk about Logan a little bit because Logan, he's my hero in this episode. There's a scene, they're talking, Remus is doing his thing, and then Virgil changes his mind and he goes something like, the point is you thought these thoughts. And Logan is looking at him like what? And then, and he's trying to say, okay, wait, stop, and Patton is going with Virgil, and they're both terrified of the thoughts, right? They're terrified that Virgil is terrified. Virgil's terrified that he's going to do the thoughts, and that causes him anxiety. Patton is terrified he's going to do the thoughts, and that'll make him a bad person. So they're afraid for different reasons. But Logan is there to be the mediator and be like, okay, you guys shut up for a minute. I understand your concern, but he's not going to do anything, so just stop, right? And when Virgil starts, you significantly see Remus stop talking because that's what he wants. He wants Virgil to panic. He wants Patton to panic. He wants them both to panic. He wants them to do the job for him. As soon as Logan starts talking again and gets them to stop and calm down, he immediately gets in his face and he's like, what does he say? Something about nipples.
Shut up, or I'm gonna tear up your nipples and shut up all your nose.
Oh, and I love that scene too because it's a split screen, but somehow when they got Remus in his face, you can see Logan's hair kind of blow back. And I was like, that's amazing. Like, it's just him in the scene, but somehow they blew his hair back with like a fan or a wave or something.
Yeah.
His bangs went, whew. And he's like looking like,
I noticed that.
Stupid Remus in my face. But yeah, like the whole thing with Remus being in his face, like this Logan is the enemy. Logan is the one who will eventually logic his way out of it.
Yeah, that's the reason why Janus in SBS tell, well, nope, not anymore. I use you. Yeah, now you need to shut up and go away because you're going to make everything turn into reason. Yeah. You're gonna logic your way out of this one.
Exactly. And this is why Logan and Janice have never had a proper like head-to-head yet. Gosh, because it like he will constantly denounce it and counteract everything that Janice says. Like he will expose him for his lies because he's all facts. He's the one who's always screaming falsehood. Falsehoods are lies. But yeah, like I can't wait for an episode like that where Janice and Logan go head to head because I know it's coming. I just don't know how they're gonna do it. But yeah, he takes him out in Can Lying Be Good. He exposes him for the facts and he says knowledge is the way. And then he takes over Logan's spot in SBS and then doesn't include him. But Logan he's a hindrance to the dark sides. He's a hindrance to Janice and he's a hindrance to Remus. And I do think that eventually when they had working through intrusive thoughts, which we should talk about too at one point, working through intrusive thoughts, I do feel like this is all built up because the whole thing with the orange eyes, I feel like is them trying to get Logan on their side. That's the ultimate goal. Because they know how much of a threat he is to both of them. But if they can get him on their side and their way of thinking, then they win. But yeah, no, but it's true, right? It's true. Like they keep saying nobody listens to me. Nobody listens to Logan. They're very subtly getting that into everybody's head. Like, wouldn't it be stupid to listen to Logan, you guys? Like,
uh the exchange the
oh,
exchange
the gift. What makes
yeah, the perfect gift. Remus and Janus are like, ooh, Virgil thought on that gift. They want to make it want to scream. And they're like pushing Logan's
Yes, doesn't
buttons.
that make you want to scream? Yeah, no, that was a reference to working through intrusive thoughts because he said, "Who do you really want to scream at? Scream that at?" Because what he's screaming is, "Stop ignoring me! Stop ignoring me!" Now, in dealing with intrusive thoughts, he's not being ignored. In fact, he's being heated, and that's what Thomas needs. He needs the calm, logical part of himself to say, "Here we go. I'm going to figuratively undress the Duke and expose him for what he really is, which is nothing. You know, they're just thoughts. They don't mean anything." But after that, and like from other scenarios in the past, like SVS, and then SVS Redux, where he shut down again, you know, they keep shutting him down, and then Janice takes over and he goes and he's like, "I'm not, you know, don't worry about me, I'm fine." And then he like disappears forever. And, you know, after that, it's working through intrusive thoughts. And again, he wants to get Thomas back on track, but Thomas isn't listening to him. And yeah, and it's just this spiral, like it's just building up and building up. And yeah, I ultimately think that their goal is, if you can't beat him, join him, because he would be better on their side. Because Logan is not, I don't, this is another theory, I don't feel like, well, there's no like such thing as light sides and dark sides. We just say that as, you know, ways to distinguish between them. But Logan himself, I think he could go either way, to be honest. And I think that's important, because you have to be neutral about things. You have to be logical about both sides of the situation. Yeah, I feel like it's all a plan. What other things do you like from the episode? Turn into a ghost. Turn into the Hulk.
Yeah, Remus is the best part.
Face
But
licking. The face licking. Then he's like strangling the girl, and then in the next scene, she's like completely fine. Have you seen Just Like
I,
Heaven?
I was going to say I need to see Just Like Heaven.
You've never seen Just Like Heaven? Okay,
Maybe parts when it was on TV, just a little, but never like
never the full
full.
thing. So the full thing is actually kind of an analogy for this episode, because she's a ghost. What actually happens is she gets into an accident. She's actually in a coma. So she's technically astral projecting, but she comes across as being like a ghost, and she's haunting Mark Ruffalo's character, who's living in her apartment, and only he can see her. just like at the beginning, only Thomas can see Remus.
Oh yeah,
And that's another thing too. When we talk about working through intrusive thoughts, only Logan can see Remus in that episode. I don't know if you noticed that. Thomas never acknowledges Remus in that episode. Not once. He doesn't say Remus. He doesn't talk to Remus. Only Logan talks to Remus. But anyway, in the movie, she's like constantly like ignoring him, and she's constantly trying to tell him to get out of her apartment, and he won't go anywhere. And then it's only after he is logical and starts to help her that she stops being such a insane presence, and and they solve clues as to who she is because she can't remember who she is. But eventually they figure it out and they find clues, and yeah. And yeah, it's kind of an analogy for the show because once they start being logical about Remus, then eventually he disappears and goes back to his little cave he lives in or whatever. Ooh, there's one thing I want to mention. How he goes when he says his name, he goes Remus, and he says, "You told me just like that." He goes, "Yeah, I would never hide anything
from you."
And then he looks
He
over at
looks at
Virgil,
Virgil.
and like
And
Virgil
Virgil, he's
is like, "You asshole." No, because like he hid his name for so long. They don't actually reference why he looks over at him.
In SBS, when Virgil, not when Janus is questioning Virgil, and
he's questioning Virgil, and he says,
showing
he says, "I just meant your name." Yeah.
And he's like, don't.
Yeah. They both are accusing Virgil of lying. Like Janice accuses him of lying about his name, and then Remus accuses him of lying about his name. Like, I would never hide anything from you. But Remus wouldn't because he doesn't have any reason to.
Yeah, but I think that was like that. The reason that Remus said that was like, I'm not hiding anything from you. Like you're doing, like hiding the reason why you're a dark side.
Because at the end of that episode, he says, "I was one of them."
Like he mentioned he doesn't want to call him dark side. He wants to call the others.
Right, he wants to call them the others because he was another. But again, I don't know. I can't remember if I've said this in our past talks. But Virgil, I don't think that, and again, he has yet to talk about his past with them, but I don't think he was ever part of them. Like, which is why I think he says others, because you can't all necessarily classify them as dark sides because they were just other, as in just not part of the core 4 or core 3 group before he came along. Virgil, I think, is on his own side. I think he's just neutral. I feel like him and Logan are actually going to eventually be revealed as neutral sides. They're not dark and they're not light.
The anime intro, when you can see like
he's split between
the dark side from one side, and he's like, where I fit and where
do I go?
In the middle.
Yes, yeah, that's a hint. Also in I think growing up episode where he is standing in the Mind Palace, and he's standing against a wall that's white and dark. Like it's white and I think almost a dark purple, which that was before he actually changed over to purple.
That's the purple one.
As being his color, but it was kind of a dark purple wall. But again, it was that same image of half white and half dark that he was standing on there. And yeah, and I feel like from what we can piece together of what we know about the episodes, I feel like when Virgil eventually reveals what his past was, he's going to talk about the fact that he never felt like a dark side, even though technically he was shoved with them. He was not with them. He was just there dealing with them because it was anxiety and he was supposed to cause all this chaos and all this paranoia and whatever. And
at first, the first episode, Virgil showed up. He like enjoyed what he was doing. He was like, "Yeah, I'm Sadie. This is what I do.
This is what I do." But we don't know. We don't know. Like, yeah, it started out that way, but then eventually they did accepting anxiety, and they did a whole episode about accepting anxiety because he said, "I don't want to cause this for you, and I don't want to cause you pain anymore. That's not who I am." And I feel like it's the light side effect. I have another theory about how being with the group makes the other sides better because they take on other qualities from the other sides and adapt it into what their core function is so that they can more easily solve the problem. And that's what happened to Virgil. He was with them for so long that he kind of said, I don't want to be the bad guy anymore. I want to be part of the group. The easiest way for me to do that is actually just take myself out of the picture so that they can function how they used to function. But then they said, no, we actually need you to discuss what makes Thomas anxious. And you're important to that. You're important to that discussion because you've been with us for all these episodes now. You've been with us and you're now our friend, and we're going to help you through this dilemma. So now him admitting that he was with Janice and Remus before, that's a whole new layer of that. That makes me think that maybe in the beginning he was actually sent there by them. Like it adds a whole new layer of like theory around Virgil's first appearance and why he came in the first place, right?
I always crave a dark side episode or dark side like flashback of when Virgil left. A flashback episode.
That would be amazing if we had a flashback episode. I would love that so much. But you know, eventually too, because Janice is now hanging out with the light sides, he's hanging out with Virgil and Patton.
We should leave for Patton, but yes.
Mostly for Patton. The other sides haven't really accepted him. Patton has tentatively accepted him. But I feel like, again, because he's with them, he'll follow the same path as Virgil and eventually be accepted because he'll want to help more. He'll want to be on Thomas's good side to help him do good rather than just help him be selfish. That's my theory. And there is a line in Working Through Intrusive Thoughts where Logan says to Remus, there is some quality in you that will be helpful eventually, but I don't know what it is yet. Or I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of what he says. So eventually, like that to me says that both Janice and Remus will eventually be accepted. Just not, I don't know. I don't think it'll be soon, but like eventually they'll be like in the group and it'll be not the core four, it'll be the Sinister Six. Well, we're gonna get cut off pretty soon. Do you want to say anything final before we?
It's a very good episode that show how a person can see themselves. They're a good person or a bad person. But yeah, they're just like thoughts. If you're not doing them, doesn't mean anything.
Exactly, and that's really all we need to take away from it is that there are just thoughts. And that's what Thomas says at the end. He says, sometimes it just goes through your head, but if you're having more than you should be, you should seek help. And yeah, it's a great episode. I love it so much. I love how I love how bad it is. I love like naughty. Anyway, love you, Ines. Thank you for talking with me. And thank you for watching this episode, everyone who's watching. Take it easy, guys, gals.
Binary pals.
Peace out.
Peace out.